Hi and welcome to this YouTube video. So in this video, I'll be teaching you how to build this code generator web app using Python Django. So this is how it works. If I click, for example, if I select Tyrion Lannister and his generate code, you can see it generates a code by Tyrion Lannister from the Game of Thrones series. And if I select Daenerys Targaryen and I hit generate, you can see it gives me a quote by Daenerys Targaryen. So this is what we are going to be building in this video, and then I will also show you how to host this video, host this website at the end of this video. So sit back, enjoy, and please give my channel a like. So the first thing that we need to do is create a virtual environment. So I created like a cheat sheet over here that we are going to be following because I didn't want to mistakenly go off the point. So the first thing that we need to do is create a directory that will house our project. So I'm just going to create a directory and name it quotes. And then I'm going to cd into quotes. That is, I'm going to enter the folder. So you can see there's nothing inside because I had just created the folder. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to create a virtual environment where we are going to keep our Django project and all our files. So to do that, we need to use the pipenv command, or if you have some kind of way of creating virtual environments, it's fine. But for me, I like using the pipenv shell command. So if you don't have it, just run pip install pipenv, and then if you don't have it, it will install it. As you can see, I have it installed, so it's saying requirement already satisfied. So to create a virtual environment, we say pip shell, and then once we run that, it's just going to quickly create a virtual environment for us. As you can see, it says creating virtual environment, and then the good thing is immediately it creates this virtual environment, it activates it for us. As you can see here, it's already activated, and then the name of the virtual environment is the name of your present working directory. And if you would like to exit the virtual environment, you could just type exit, exit, and then you can see it's exited the virtual environment. And then if you would like to reactivate it, you just type pipenv shell, and then it's reactivate it. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, the next thing we need to do is obviously we need to install Django. So run the command pip install Django, and then this should just install the Django library for us right away. And then the next thing we need to do is we now need to create a project. So I'm going to say Django-admin start project. Now what exactly is a project? A project is basically as it states, the starting of every single Django project. So it houses like all the parent files of your project. So you have your settings.py file where you need to make changes to your entire website. It configures how the whole website works. You have your URLs for routing, and then we're going to see how all those things work. So Django-admin starts project, and I'm going to name it quotes project. And then the next thing we need to do is cd into quotes project. And then once you say ls, you can see we already have a folder named quotes project and manage.py. So the next thing we need to do is create an application. So we do that by saying python manage.py start app, and I am going to name it quotes app. And then once I run that and I say ls again, you can see we have another folder called quotes app. So the next thing I'm going to do is open this folder in Visual Studio Code. So I'm just going to open it, my desktop. I'm going to see it into Django projects, YouTube, quotes project, and then I'm going to open this folder. So let me just zoom in here so that you can see well. So according to our cheat sheet, the next thing we need to do is add our app to the installed apps in our settings.py. So go to the settings.py file and scroll down to installed apps. and then right here just type the in quotes, just type the name of your app. So I'm going to say quotes app. And then the next thing we now need to do is we need to create a templates folder, and then we need to add that to the dirs over here. So the templates folder is basically where we are going to be storing all our templates files. So just create a folder and name it templates. Now note that we are creating this folder in our root directory. Our root directory is where we have the manage.py file. So just create this templates folder, and over here in line 58 where you see dirs, just type in templates and save it just like that. So templates just like that. Now the next step that we need to take is we need to set up the URLs. So go to your app folder, that is the code app or whatever you named it, and create a new file called urls.py. That is urls.py. And then we need to say from django.urls import path. Then the next thing we need to do is just create a list for our URL patterns. So call it URL patterns and equate that to an empty list for now. So what we now need to do is we need to tell, after telling Django that we have an app called quote app, the next thing we need to do is we need to tell it that we have a URLs file inside our app folder, which is quote app. So I want you to go to the urls.py file inside your project folder. And then the next thing we need to do is we need to tell Django to take note of this URLs file inside our app folder. So after path here, I'm just going to put include, and then I'm going to say path, and I am going to leave this empty for now. And then I would say include, and then I would say quotes in quotes. I would say quotes quote app.urls. So why exactly are we importing include and why are we using it? We're just trying to tell Django that, okay, I need you to go into this app folder, and then I need you to take note of each URL that is created in this app folder so that we don't have to do it inside our project folder. So after doing that, according to our cheat sheets, the next thing we need to do is we need to set up our views.py file and then make sure and get all the files that we need. So there is going to be a link in the description that will take you to where you can get the two files that we're going to be using in this project. So the first file is the home page, that is the index.html file that we are going to be using. So I have that file somewhere in my desktop. If I can find it, this is it right here. So I am just going to minimize. So I will copy it and move it to the templates folder. Now, please take note that it is to be kept inside the templates folder that is in your root directory. So again, there is going to be a link in the description that is going to take you to where you can get this HTML file. So after doing that, after getting the templates file that we need, we now need to set up our views.py file. So I need you to head to your views.py file, and then we need to create our first view, that is our home view. So this view is just going to return the home page. Now if I go back and open the index.html file, this is a template that we're going to be working with. Currently now it doesn't do anything. It's just returning a bare bones template. There is no backend in it. So we now need to return this HTML file as our home page. So just create a view, and I'm going to name it home page, and it is going to pass in, I'm going to pass in requests there. So after doing that, the next thing we need to do is we need to return render this HTML file that we had just gotten, which is index.html. So I'm going to say return render, So I'm going to say return render, and then I'm going to pass in request first, and then we need to pass in the actual HTML file. So I'm just going to pass in the name, which is index.html. So the next thing we now need to do is we need to map this view to a URL. That is, right now we have created a view, but how can the users access this view? So I need you to go to your urls.py file, that is the one in your app folder, and then we need to import this home page view. So I am going to say from .views import home page. Now we need to create the URL for this view. So I'm going to say path, and then I'm just going to leave this empty because we want this to be the home page. That is, anytime the users visit the link, the first page they would see is the HTML file that we just rendered. And then I'm going to say home page, and let's just give this a name of home, and then I'll just put a comma here and save it. So when we come back to our terminal, and then I run python manage.py run server server, so it says no module name codes app, so I might have misspelled it here. It's QUOTEAPP, right? So where are we having errors from? So no module named codes app. Okay, so the error is coming from the urls.py file. So it's supposed to be codes app, not codes app. So QUOTEAPP. And then once I save that and I try to run my server again, so that should run perfectly. Nice. So we have been given this link. So when we visit this link in our browser, you can see this home page is being returned to us. So this is perfect. We have done the first step. We have been able to return the home page back to the users. So the next step, according to our cheat sheets, is now to create actual models. So models basically just models just basically help us configure our database. That is, it tells the database what kind of data we want to be saving, what kind of basically the kind of data that we want to be saving, and it creates different rows and different tables. So the next thing that we need to do is head over to our models.py file. So I'm just going to close this out. So your models.py file is inside your app folder. And now we are going to have a quick word from our sponsor. Have you ever wanted to learn how to code but you didn't know where to start? Coding is the perfect place, as they have a lot of comprehensive and well-structured courses that make learning seamless and easy. They have courses on Python, Java, C++, JavaScript, and a whole lot more. When we come over to the courses tab, you will notice that they have a lot of courses ranging from beginner to intermediate to master level. So be rest assured that you will find a course that is just for you. I myself am a tutor on the Kodi company, and then this right here is my course, is one of my courses, Detect and Censor Crosswords in Python. Now, one of the things I love about Kodi is its simplicity, and then is the simplicity because each course is well structured and broken down into different topics to make following the course very easy and very simple. If we come over to a topic and then we click it, this is also another thing I love about the website. The fact that they have the lessons on the left, and then they have a web-based code editor where you can write your code and run your code in real time. This makes the website very, very powerful and very beautiful and very, very easy to use. So right now they have a free plan, and then the downside to the free plan is that you have limited monthly code executions on the website. So if you would like to access the premium plan, they are currently having a Black Friday sale, which is just $0.99. It's not even up to $1. It's very, very cheap. So just click a link in the description below. It will take you to the website where you can sign up and register. So according to our cheat sheet, the next step that we need to take is create a model called actor. So I am just going to create a class actor, and then I'm going to pass in models.model. It is inheriting from models.model, and then we now need to create an actual view an actual field that is going to be assigned to this model. So the field we are creating is called quota. So I'm going to say quota is equals to models dot character field. So this is just going to represent the actual name of the person that is rendering or giving this code. All right, so after doing that, we've created a models dot character field. So this is going to again house the name of the actor. So we now need to pass in max length, maybe 225, and then after doing that, we'll just say def underscore underscore str underscore underscore self, and then we're going to say return self dot quota. So why exactly are we doing this? We are doing this because anytime we visit the admin dashboard, we would want the actual the name of the person to be displayed. But you are going to see why we're adding this shortly. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to create, according to our cheat sheet, we need to create another model called quote. Now, this model is actually going to house the quote itself. So I'm going to say class quote, and then it's going to be called models. Sorry, it's inheriting from models dot model. Now, take note that please name your models actor and quotes, because it's going to be very crucial in the future, because we're going to make use of this name specifically for something. I will show you in the future. So the next thing we now need to do is we need to create two fields, which are actor and quotes, and actor is going to be a foreign key to the actor model. So I'm just going to say actor is equals to models dot foreign key, and then in here I'm going to pass in actor. So what exactly is a foreign key? A foreign key is just a way of linking two models together. So I would like to link an actor to multiple quotes. So we can do that using the models of foreign key. So after doing that, I will now pass in on delete equals models dot cascade. Models dot cascade. So what does this mean? What this means is that anytime an actor is deleted, every single quote that has been created under this actor is going to be deleted. That is, once I go to the database and delete a specific actor, all the quotes in the database that have been created under that actor's name will also be deleted. So the next field that we now need to create is the quote field. So this is going to be quote is equals to models dot character field, and then I'm just going to pass in also max length equals I don't know, maybe 225 also. And then after doing this, I'm just going to again say def underscore underscore str underscore underscore, and then I'm going to pass in self here. And after doing this, I would say return curn return str self dot actor. The reason why we're saying str is because if we try to return this object itself, it's going to crash. So we need to put it in a string, should I call it a method, in order to convert it to a string. So I don't know why it's doing that. Self SELF LF, yeah, return self dot actor. So after doing that, we've made changes to our models.py file. The next thing we need to do is make migrations. So I want you to head over to your terminal and then run the command python manage.py make migrations. And after doing that, we need to now migrate these changes to the database, because making migrations is not enough. We need to actually now take these changes and save it in the database. So we say python manage.py migrate grt. So this is just going to migrate and save all those changes to the database. Now the next step is to now register these models that we just created in our admin.py file, so that we can view them in our admin file. Okay, so now the next step is to register these models in our admin.py file. So I would like you to go to your admin.py file, and then after doing that, we need to import these models into this file. So I'm going to say from dot import models. So what we can now say is admin.site.register, register. So after doing, I'm just going to pass in models.actor, and then I'm just going to do the same thing for the quotes model. I'm going to say models.quote. So once we run this, we now need to go to our front end and then go to the admin dashboard. So we go to the link that has been provided by the live server, sorry, that has been provided to us by Django. So first we need to run our server, and then after doing that, we now need to go to /admin, and then you can see we need to log in. So in order to do that, we need to create a super user. We do that by saying python manage.py create super user, and then it's going to ask us for username. I'm just going to say admin. I'm not going to enter email, some password. I'm just going to type in admin, and then I'm going to type yes. So after doing that, it says super user created successfully. So I'm just going to run the server and then try to log in with these details. So admin and admin. So you can see I have successfully logged in, and if you look, you can see those modules are now being displayed in the admin dashboard. And if I hit quotes, you can see we can add a quote and select an actor. So we have successfully created our models and added these models to our admin dashboard so that we can view them. We have also created a super user. Now the next step, according to our cheat sheet, is to populate the database. And then in order to do that, we need a library called Django import export. So I'm going to show you how to import data to the database and export data from the database in whatever file format you want. It's actually a very pretty good library, and I am going to explain how to do that right away. Okay, so in order to install import export, we just need to go to our terminal and run the command pip install Django import export. So once you run this, it's just going to install the import export library for us. And then once you've done that, just go ahead and run your server again. So the next step is to now go to our settings.py file and let Django know that we have import export installed. So go to your installed apps and then in quotes just type import_export. So save that and then close the settings. So in order to show you how this actually works, I would go to I want to show you how it fully works, and I will go to the live version of this website, and I'm going to go to the admin dashboard. So if I go to quotes right here, you can see that we can export the entire database, and then if I zoom in, I can click whatever format I want, and then once I hit submit, you can see the entire database has been downloaded. That is, the entire database for the quotes model has been downloaded. I can also do the exact same thing for the actor model. So I'm going to hit export, and then I'm going to select CSV and then submit. So you can see it has downloaded this file for me in a it has downloaded the entire database and saved it in a CSV file. So this is how the import export library actually works. Now we actually need these two files that I just downloaded, because in our project we wouldn't want to manually put in all those codes by ourselves. These are quotes and actors that I had created earlier. So there's going to be a link in the description to get these two files. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use Django import export to import these two files into our database, so that we don't have to manually type them into the database. So the next step we need to take after adding it to the settings.py file is to go to the admin.py file. Now we need to import something from Django import export. We need to import export model admin. So how do we do that? We do that by saying from imports from sorry import exports from import exports dot admin import import exports admin. What is that? Import exports model admin. So from import export admin, import export model admin. So after doing this, the next thing we need to do is we need to create a class, and I am just going to call it actor admin. So this is the class that is going to help us import and export actors to and from the database. So this is going to inherit from import export model admin, and it's also going to inherit from admin.model admin. Now take note that it's inheriting from two things: import export model admin and admin.model admin. So after doing that, we can just say dot dot dot, and then we can just leave that empty right there. So I'm just going to copy the registered actor and just paste it up here. Now we need to do the exact same thing for the quotes model. So I'm just going to copy this class, copy this class, and I will do the exact same thing for this class, and I would call it quotes admin. So QUOTE, and then it's going to just inherit from import export model admin and admin.model admin once again. Now there's also something else we need to pass into this admin.site.register. After registering the model, the next thing we now need to pass in is this class that we just created. So I'm going to copy that and paste it in here. I'm also going to copy quotes admin, and then I'm going to paste it in here. So after doing that, just save this file, and then we now need to head back to our admin page, and then once we reload, the server isn't running, so it says no module name quotes import exports. We are getting this error from my settings.py file. I didn't put a comma here, so make sure you always put a comma after every installed app that you add. So I'm going to save that and close it, and then I'm going to my server is running now. So once I go to the admin dashboard and refresh, you can see that we already have import exports being displayed right here. So what we have done is we have installed the import exports library, and then we have written code in the admin.py file to help us import and export this import and export files to and from our database. Now if you want to get all the code to this project, remember there's going to be a link in the description below that will take you to my GitHub, where you can get all the code. Now remember that I told you these files that I downloaded are going to be useful. It is now that we are going to use this file. So we need to go to the actors admin page, and then we need to actually import actors. So for all those files that we downloaded earlier, the two files that I downloaded is what I'm going to import right now. So I'm going to go to downloads, and then I'm going to look for actors.csv, and then I'm just going to open it, and you can see it already recognizes that it's a CSV file. So once I hit submit, you can see this is a preview, and it's just displaying what is inside this file. So I'm going to say confirm import, and then you can see all the actors from that CSV file have successfully been saved to the database. So I'm going to do the exact same thing for the quotes model. So I'm going to say import, and I'm going to choose file, and I will choose this CSV file that is for the quotes model, and then I'm going to submit. Again, it shows me the preview, all the files, the ID, the actors. So I'm going to say confirm import, and then once I do that, you can see all these quotes have been added to the database. So instead of manually typing in all these quotes, the actor and then the quotes, instead of manually typing it in, we were just able to import all these actors and all these quotes into the database. So nice, you have learned how to use import and export. Now remember, to get these files, again, there's going to be a link in the description where you can download the files from. Now, according to our cheat sheet, the next step we need to take is that we need to now, okay, after uploading code, we need to now go to the views and we need to set up our templates. So I am just going to close this out. So we need to open the index.html file, and then we need to configure a few things. According to the cheat sheet, the first thing we need to configure is that we need to display the list of actors in the select tab. What that means is, if we go to the front end and we refresh, when we click choose actor, it's supposed to show us a list of actors, just like the live version does. If we go to the live version of this website, once I hit it, you can see it shows me a list of actors. So it's actually very easy to do this. What we need to do is we need to query the database for a list of all the actors and return it to the front end so that it can be displayed. So in our views.py file, we need to import this model. So I want you to say from .models import actor. So after importing actor, the next thing we now need to do is we now need to get all the actors in database and return them as a query set to the front end. So I'm just going to say all actors is equal to actor.objects.all. So I'm saying actor.objects or all. This is just going to go to the actor model. It's going to go to the database. Under the actor model, it's going to grab every single item, and then it's going to return it back to us. So the next thing we now need to do is create a context dictionary, and then I'm going to create a model called context and equate this to a dictionary. The next step that I am going to take is to pass in this actors query set into the context. So I'm going to say actors, and I'm going to pass in all actors. So the next step we now need to take is we need to pass in this context into the return render so that we can make use of this data in the front end. So I'm going to say context. Right. So what we are doing here is, again, we are querying the database to get all the actors, and then we are creating a context dictionary where we are storing these actors, and then we are returning this context to the data to the front end where we will be able to use it. Now we need to write some code that is going to loop through all these actors and display them here. So that is very easy. What you need to do is go to the index.html page, and then where we have these comments right here, list out actors here, I'm going to write a for loop using Django templating language. So I'm going to just create this curly bracket and then put percent signs, and I am going to say for I in actors, actors. We are saying for I in actors because in the context dictionary we put in actors, so actors is now like a placeholder for this query set. So after doing that, for I in actors, I am going to come down here and put end for. Now anytime you create a for loop in using the Ginger templating language, you must always end it. If not, you are going to have an error. So after saying for I in actors, we now need to pass in actor.quota. Now you are going to see why we are doing this. So over here, I'm going to pass in two curly brackets. I'm going to pass in I.quota. So we're saying .quota because in the models.py file, the field that is equated to the names of these actors is called quota. So once I save that and return to the front end, when we refresh it and we click this, you can see it is now showing us a list of actors. Now this is being gotten from the backend, from this context dictionary here, when we filtered and got all the actors, and it's being returned to the front end, and then we're able to access it using a for loop, and then we're looping through the data, and then we're displaying the actor's name. So inside the value, we also need to pass in I.quota, So we've been able to do that. Now the next thing we also need to do is we need to take note of this form tag over here. Right now, this select tag and this button are inside the form tag. They're inside the form tag because we would like to select an actor and actually hit generate quote. So we want the form to send a post request to our backend so that our backend is going to respond with a quote from the actor that we select here. So in light of that, we need to give our form a method of post. So I'm just going to pass in post here, and then we also need to pass in CSRF token. Now we're passing in CSRF token because anytime we're trying to make a post request in Django, if CSRF token isn't present, we're going to have an error. So let's just pass in CSRF token. CSRF token is more a security measure. So for example, if I search it up, CSRF token Django, this is its cross-site request forgery protection. So if you want to read more about it, you could just search it up and you could check the official Django documentation. So the next step that we need to take, according to the cheats list that I have over here, after configuring the form, adding CSRF token, we now need to give this select tag a name attribute. So we need to come here and say name name is equals to actor. Now I am going to show you why we are doing this. This actor that we've equated here is going to serve as a unique identifier, right? So if you remember earlier, I said the way the website works is it's once a user selects an actor and we hit generate quote, it sends a post request, and then that request is now taken in by the backend, and then it now returns a response, right? So we now need to actually write code that is going to be able to check if a post request is coming in from the front end. So what we need to say right here is if request dot method is equal to post. That is, if the if a post request is coming in, I want you to execute the code inside this if block. So what we now need to do is we now need to get this actor that the person has selected. So I'm going to say create a variable and name it actor name is equals to request dot post dot get, and then in here I'm going to pass in actor. So we're passing in actor because we have given this select tag a name attribute called actor, so it's like a unique identifier. If we were to give this actor name, I would also pass in actor name here. So it's just a way of helping us grab whatever the person has inputted or selected in this field. So after doing that, let's just try to see if it's working. So let's just print actor name to see if our code works. So let's try to select something from the front end right here. So let's refresh, and then let's select Jon Snow and his generate code. So once I do that, we now need to go back to the terminal, and as you can see, Jon Snow was created. If I zoom in, you can see, Jon Snow was printed, I mean. So right now we know our post request is going through, and then we know whatever we select is being sent to the front end, to the back end, I mean, and then we're able to get what the person has selected. So the next step we need to take is the next step we need to take is that we now need to check if the user has selected anything, because if the user doesn't select anything but hits generate quote, that might give us an error. So what we need to do is we need to make use of the Django messages library. In the live version, if I hit generate quote without selecting any actor, you can see it gives us an error, select an actor. So what I am simply going to do here is I'm just going to remove this print. In order to check if a user hasn't selected anything, I'm going to say if not actor name, So let's just pass for now. So what that means is if the user didn't input anything, that is if not actor name. What that means is if nothing has been equated to this variable, that means obviously the user didn't select anything. So we now need to return an error message to the user to prompt them to select something, just like how the live version did. So what we need to make use of is the Django messages library. So we need to import it by saying from Django.messages from Django.contrib import messages. So Django messages framework is just a way of flashing messages in the front end. So what I'm going to say here is if not actor name, I'm going to say messages.error, and then the first thing we need to pass in is request. And after passing a request, we need to now pass in the actual message that we want to be displayed in the front end. So I am going to just type in you have to select SELECT, select an actor. So after doing this, we now need to actually tell Django, okay, where is this message going to be displayed? Because we have created this message, but where is it going to be displayed? We now need to return redirect to this page so that the message is going to be flashed here. So I am going to show you why we are doing this. So I need you to go to your urls.py file inside your app folder, and then I need you to take note of whatever name you gave this home page view. So you can see I gave it a name of home. So I am just going to come back here, and at the first line I'm going to say redirect. So we need redirect so that we can just redirect spacing back to the home page. So right here I'm going to say return redirect, and I'm going to pass in home. So what this is going to do is going to, if the user doesn't enter any message, if the user doesn't select any actor name, it's going to create a message, and then it's going to send that message to the home page. So we have created this message and we've told Django where to send this message, but there's something else that we have not done. We have not written code in the front end to actually accept this message and display this message in the front end. Now that is what this paragraph tag is for. What we can do is, what we can now say is create an if block and say if messages, and then right here I'm just going to end if. Now remember, anytime you create an if block, you must always end the if. You must always end the if, and anytime you create a for block, you must always end the for. So after saying if messages, the next thing we now need to say is for message in messages, and then again the next thing we need to do is end for. We now need to say end for. I'm sure you are confused as to why we are writing a for loop here, but this is just the way it's done using the Django messages library. If we go to if you search the documentation and say Django messages, actually let me just search it here, Django messages, and then we click this, it says the messages framework. So you can just like read through to fully understand why it is done the way it is. And if you see here in the documentation, it's the exact way we're doing it for message in messages. So that is why I said for message in messages. So after creating the for loop, just end the for loop, and then in here we need to pass in the message. So in curly brackets I will just pass in message. So again, we created an if block, we ended the if block. So if messages means if any message is coming in from the backend, right, then we want you to loop through the message and display the message. So let's just save that, go back to the front end and refresh. So when we refresh, if we try to hit generate code without selecting any item, you can see an error is now being displayed, and it tells us you have to select an actor. So if I refresh again and hit generate quote, you can see it still tells us you have to select an actor because I haven't selected any actor. But if I select an actor now and hit generate quote, you can see the error message doesn't get displayed. So that tells us that our code right now is working perfectly. So if you go back to our cheat sheet, right, the next step is that we need to now get the actor model, filter through the quotes using the actor model, and select a random quote. So what that means basically is after we've gotten the actor that the user has selected, we now need to filter through the database to get the actor that the user has selected. And after getting the actor, we now also need to filter through the database to get every quote, yes, that has been created under this actor's name. So what we can do first is we need to say we can create a variable and name it get actor is equals to actor dot object dot get, and I would say quota is equals to actor name. Now, why are we saying quota is equals to actor name? If we go back to the models, you remember that we created a field called quota, and it is what houses the name of this actor. So once we come back to the views, you can see that I said quota is equals to actor name. We're saying is equals to actor name because it is what the user has selected in the front end. So it's now going to be gotten here, and then we're going to search through the database to get an actor that has this name. So after getting the actor that has this name, we now need to filter through the database to get every quote that has been created under this actor's name. So I am going to create a variable and name it get quote is equals to, before we do that, we need to import the quote model. So we now say get quote is equals to quote dot object dot filter. We're saying dot filter because we want to get a list of items that are associated with this actor model. So after doing that, we now need to pass in actor is equals to get actor. Now, why exactly did we need to say get actor first in order to filter through the database? The reason why we're saying get actor first is because in the database, the actor model field has been assigned a foreign key, and this foreign key is connected to this actor model. So in order to get a quote, we need to first get an object of an actor that is associated with that quote. So that is why we are saying get actor first, and then we're now equating actor over here to the objects that we just got. So if you didn't understand that, please kindly watch it again, and if you have any question, you can leave a comment in the comment section and I will reply you. So after doing this, we now need to select one random quote from this list of items, that from this query set that has been returned to us. Because if you remember, in the live version, when we select an actor, it returns only one quote. So what happens is that once we have received this query set, we now need to write some code that is going to select one at random from this list of query sets and then return that item to the front end. So what we now need to do at the top is say import random. So the next step after importing random is we need to tell the program to select one item randomly from the list of query sets or from the query set that has been returned to us. So I'm going to create a variable and name it random quote, and I'm going to equate that to random dot choice, and then I'm going to pass in get quotes into this parenthesis. So what does random dot choice do? What it does is that it goes into a list and then it selects one item. It selects one item as random. So using this random dot choice, what we're able to do now is we're able to tell the program to go into this query set that has been assigned to get quotes and select one item randomly. So after selecting this code, we now need to return this code to the front end so that it can be viewed or visualized by the user. So we need to create a new context dictionary, and inside this context dictionary I'm going to pass in quote QUOTE, and then I will assign that to random quote. And after doing that, we also need to pass in the actors into this context so that while we're returning the code that is going to be generated, we also need to return a list of actors so that a user can also select again what actor they want, just in case they want to generate a second code. So to do that, we just copy this actors context from here, paste it here, and then what we need to do is copy this line 24, all actors, and then paste it at the top. We're pasting it at the top because we want this context dictionary right here to be able to access this all actors variable so that our program does not crash. So after doing all that, after creating this new context dictionary, we now need to render this index.html file with this new context dictionary that we have created over here. So what's going to happen now is anytime a user sends a post request, it's going to check if the user had selected an actor. If the user has selected an actor, it's going to get the actor object and then get codes that are connected to this actor object, and then the program is going to select one at random, and then it's going to return the list of actors and the randomly selected code to the front end. So I hope you understood all what I just said. We need to save it. Now we need a way to tell the program to get this code data that is here, this code data that is coming in, and then we need to tell the program to display this code data in the front end so that the users can actually view this data. If I come here where it says I am become death, the destroyer of worlds, if we go to the front end, we can see that is just a static kind of text. Using this way, we can't view data that is coming in from the front end. So what we can now say is we are going to create an if block, and then we're going to say if quote, if QUOTE, that is if any quote is coming in from the backend, quote being this item in this dictionary. So if quotes, what that means is if there's any quotes coming in from the backend, I want you to excuse this if block. So what we now need to do is again end this if block. So I'm going to say end if, and then after doing that, I'm just going to remove this static text, and inside this two curly brackets, I'm going to pass in quote QUOTE, quote. I believe it's dot quote. Yeah, so we're saying dot quote because we created a field earlier in the models.py file, and then we equated quotes to the actual code that is being saved in database. So that is why we're saying quotes.quote right here. And then the next thing we need to do is we need to pass in the should I say the author of this quote. So what we need to do is go back to the models.py file and then take note that the actor field has been equated to the author of this quote. So in here, I'm just going to remove this static text, and then I'm going to pass in quotes.actor. So this should help us get this data that is coming in from the backend, which is this quote, and then it should help us display it in the front end. So if we go back to our web browser and reload, if we hit Tyrion Lannister right now and hit generate code, you can see our code is working perfectly well. It was able to it went to the backend, sent a post request, and then it's returned this code back as a response, and then it's returned the code and the author of the code. So you can see it is being displayed well, and our code is working perfectly well. So let's check our cheat sheets to see if there is anything. So that is the end of our cheat sheet. We have successfully built this this code generator project. From this project, you learned how the Django messages library work. You learned how Django's basic architecture works. You learned how to use Django import export. Please, if this video was very helpful, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified anytime I post a new video. So again, if you want to get all the code to this project, it will be available on my GitHub, and there's going to be a link in the description that will take you to a page where you can get this project. That is all for this video, and thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. And also, if you would like to learn how to host this website, because the live website is hosted on Railway is a good hosting website where you can host your Django apps. So if you would like to learn how to host it, there's going to be a card that will probably pop up on the screen right now, or there's going to be a link in the description, so you can click that, and then it's going to take you to my video where I explain how to host Django projects on Heroku. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.